All right. Thank you for joining me today for Lunch and Learn. My name is Dan Hotka. I'm your host. And today we are going to talk about the result cache, revving up your functions, making them go faster, which basically is keeping them from executing. They'll go faster. But Oracle has a cool way of managing that. My short disclaimer. Okay. All right, I am an Oracle ACE director. I do like doing these lunch and learns to share my technology among the masses. That's one of the things that we ACE directors do, is share our knowledge with as many as we can. I like doing these lunch and learns. I'm well authored, well published, been around a long time. I regularly blog. Okay, if you would like to get the links in a regular announcement, email me, dan@danhotka.com, or you go to my website, which is conveniently plastered on everything. Go to my website, and there's a link there to send me an email asking to be on the list. I do training. As a regular part of my job. I boast a flat fee training. I don't count the heads. I basically charge a fee on-site or over the web. I do have a portable lab. I am offering some of these courses, the Oracle SQL and PL SQL class and the Advanced PL SQL class I'm going to be offering. Okay, so I've got Intro to Oracle, January 5th and 6th, 2 whole days. Intro to PL SQL, January 7th and 8th for 2 whole days. And then in February, we'll switch to the half-day format for the Advanced PL SQL class. Okay, power users, analysts, business analysts and such should go through the Intro to Oracle. Anyone new to Oracle should be going through the PL SQL courses. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to update this slide up here, but we run these at 12:15 Eastern Time. And it seems to work well for everybody doing this one webinar. So the Advanced PL SQL class could easily be named New Features for Developers. I cover Oracle 10, 11, and 12 in these presentations. And again, hands-on lab exercises. Would love to have you. Let me know if there's a whole group of you. I can come up with a special rate. Otherwise, more information, outlines, and pricing are all on my website. Okay, today's topic is rev up your functions with the result cache. Okay, these examples come from my Advanced PL SQL course, again, the one that I'll be running in half days on February 9th. Okay, Oracle 11 gave us this cool thing. Basically, the best way to explain this is looking at this deterministic clause. Oracle 8i and up to 10G, actually 11G and 12G still have this. They have a deterministic clause that you put in when you compile your functions. It's a compiler function. Okay, what deterministic says, if by user, if you submit the function 2 times in a row with the same in variable, I'm just going to save the result from the prior execution, and I'll just return it again. I won't execute the function. I'll just return the same call, the same result that I stored for you last time. The best way to describe the result cache is it does this, but it does it for all the users and across sessions. So everybody shares the same function calls, and it saves all of the invariables. So if you're looking up the 50 United States, I'm based here in Iowa. So the universities that are here in the state of Iowa probably do a lot of Iowa lookups. And then occasionally Illinois, Missouri, Minnesota, Nebraska, perhaps the surrounding states, but mostly Iowa. So as they do a state lookup, they get the state name. IA, returning Iowa, no matter who's doing the data entry on the app, they won't execute that name lookup function. By the way, I like using functions for name lookups, common things like tax codes and calculations, because they're easily included on the select line. You can include them in the where clause and other things, and it's fairly easy to code these up. This result cache really revs things up, though. So You can also put a result cache hint into your SQL statement, and it will save the result coming out of there. Now, just kind of remember that this was more, the line of thought that Oracle had for this was storing small things. But there isn't any reason why you can't load the thing up. But just, you know, keep in mind how it's best used. Now, Oracle 11 Release 1 had this relies on clause. This was depreciated in Oracle 11.2. If you have any of the syntax left, it's fine. Basically, what happens in 11 Release 2 on is if you do any DML to the table, it just wipes out the result cache. So this is better suited for like the state lookups, city, county code lookups, common tax codes, and things like that. Things that repeat and don't change much, okay? It was 1961, I think, when we added a state to the state table here in the United States, so that definitely doesn't change much, okay? So it works great. It works with Enterprise Edition Oracle, okay? And just remember, any update to the underlying table flushes the result cache. It simply starts over. So, a couple of things. It is set up initially, and it's set up initially to 10% of the shared pool size. It can be bumped up. I'm going to show you a pool report. If you want to turn it off and recapture the memory, 0 will disable it. Okay, and there's some $V tables here to monitor the performance. All right. This is the cool report. Basically, I wouldn't worry too much about this if you're just using it for functions to save the result coming back. But if you're using it to store results from SQL statements, common queries that people run, and if they're asking for the identical same thing, this could really rev those up. But do monitor the size if you're going to be storing anything of size in the thing. Okay? Now, you compile the code, you put the result cache syntax right before the is or the as, okay? Right before the is or the as. That's where I put these functions, and that's where it goes. And then this is just a quick little example that shows I'm selecting my get dname function here. I'm getting it returning the department name when I pass it a department code. I run it once. It incurred a smidgen of time. I run it again. It didn't incur any time at all. Of course, this is a small example, and the table would be cached anyway, but just keep in mind that it does indeed work. So I coded one up that's a little bit more teeth in it just to show you how it works. Here's our result cache function. I'm passing in an apartment number, and I'm going to return a character string. Actually, I'm selecting dname into our variable from our department where that number is equal to itself. Okay, the department number lookup. If it executes, if this function executes, I'm going to throw out a line. The result cache function executed. Okay? And then I'm simply going to return the variable. I got an exception clause in there, but I'm not expecting any errors. Okay, one of the things to be careful when working with the result cache function or the deterministic function is make sure that that function isn't influenced by anything else. I.e., you pass in one feature, it always returns that same output without any other influences. If it's influenced by sysdate, other outside parameters, it's not a candidate for the result cache because this simply works on the object and who submitted, not who submitted it, the object and the in variables. Okay? So Oracle 12 has whittled it down to by user as well. They've added another field in there, but it works great anyway. Oracle 11, Oracle 12. So we got user 0, and I just put a little anonymous block together to run our function passing in department 10, and I'm going to run it 5 times. Okay. The first time it runs, we get that result cache executed, and there's the 5 times, the accounting department. All right. another user comes along and runs it, notice it did not execute. It's already cached. I told it, all I did is I told it to use the same function, and that function makes a call to the same table. Okay, so it works great. I update the table. I add 50 for headquarters in Chicago perhaps, but I updated the table. I go back to my user 0, run it again, and sure enough, the first time, because the result cache got wiped out, it had to execute the function, but it didn't for the other 4 times, and it won't for the other users that run the result cache with option 10. So when they start pulling department 20, department 30, pretty soon the whole thing will be cached, and the result cache function won't execute at all. It did not execute these 4 times. It just executed on the first one. Okay? So the result cache from SQL kind of works the same way. You put the result cache hint in, and it incurred some time. I ran the same exact SQL statement again, returned the same result, and didn't incur any time at all. Okay? So you can rev your functions up using the result cache. Keep in mind that the function can't be influenced by anything else, i.e. you always submit the same in variable, you'll always get the same output. I'm going to provide the links and this presentation on my website shortly. Let everyone know about these Lunch and Learns. Remember me when you have a training need, and thank you for attending today.